Hello everyone, Jason from Truth Behind the Magic back at it again here. I've been excited about making this video for a while now, didn't get around to it until just now, but better late than never, I suppose. And I'll kind of preface this with a couple things. First of all, I'm looking at this through a lens of, someone like me who has been a cast member, has lived in the Orlando area. I'm kind of looking at this as resorts that, whether you're on a vacation, if you're staying there, or you're a local, if you're a cast member, these are places that I think are the most enjoyable. Now, if you're someone that is looking for a list of, my suggestions for places where I think you should stay, I do plan on making a list a little bit down the line that is it'll be similar to this but slightly different, I'm sure. In fact, I know there will be at least a few differences of resorts that I think are the best value to actually stay at as a guest. But I would definitely say if you're looking for places to actually, book, I would encourage you to stick around, because I'm sure this will have some value for you, at least I hope. Because even though, like I said, I'm kind of looking at these as places that you should visit as a cast member, as a local, or if you're on vacation, there's very much crossover, because I'm talking about what makes these resorts great. So even if some of them are quite expensive and I might not necessarily think they're the best value, I'm still discussing what I believe is great about these resorts and why you should go visit. So, and the second thing here, I just have a few bullet points. This is all pretty much coming straight from the heart. Didn't make extended notes. But yeah, we'll just get into it. So I just realized I didn't even say the title. I mean, I'm sure you'll see the title, but my top 10 resorts that I think you should visit. Number 10 here, this was the toughest of the list. I guess the last on the list is pretty much always the toughest. Sometimes the top 3 are, or number 1 specifically. For me, this was the hardest. At number 10, I have Caribbean Beach. It beat out Pop Century, was very close, which if this was on my resorts that I believe are the best value, that would be near the top of that list. It beat out Coronado, my old home resort, which I love. Obviously as someone who worked there, I have an affinity for it, but just the resort itself I think is a great resort. But there are a few things that kind of knock it down a peg, why I wouldn't say it's necessarily somewhere that's in my top 10 of places you should go visit. I would say location is probably the biggest thing there. Is just, it's not the easiest to get to, not the easiest to get out of. But yeah, Caribbean Beach is at number 10 here. A few big things that I like about this, because I know when it comes to the moderate category, a lot of people consider this near the bottom. I mean, there's only 4 resorts, but I don't think any of them are particularly bad. In fact, I like all of them. Obviously, if I didn't like all of them, this wouldn't even be on number 10. But one big thing see, if this is where I know I'm kind of rambling and catching myself off guard a lot on this one, I apologize, but this is where I think there's a discretion between what I think is a great value and what I like to go visit, because this point could be considered bad if you're someone actually staying there for a lot of people. But it is a large resort with a lot of areas to go walk around and kind of take in, sit on a bench, just look out over the water. If you're someone staying there, you may think this isn't a good thing, but if you're visiting to look around, you'll probably like that it's a very big area and there's a lot to see. You have the walkway to the Riviera, which obviously that opens up a whole new world. But and you'll see that with a lot of mine that I have. Location is a pretty serious factor to me. I don't like the Riviera at all, but at least you have the option to go there if you would like, so you can visit 2 resorts in one. You have two Skyliner stations, and I say two because you obviously have the Caribbean Beach station, as well as the Riviera station if you wanted to walk there. And once again, not that it is necessarily a part of the resort, but I do think it's important to have transportation options. I think really that makes it more interesting to me when it comes to places you should visit, because it makes it easier to get to, and when you're done you can decide to go somewhere else relatively easily. For all of these, I put down the main food options because I'm a big food person. That comes into play with a lot of these. You have the Centertown Market and Sebastian's Bistro. I know there are some people that are diehard fans of both of those. I personally have never been, but I would say that's one thing that does kind of knock it down a little bit for me, is that there's not a ton of food options. But no, definitely make your way over there. It's a really beautiful resort to just look around at. And I mean, I'd suggest you stay there too. They have a great pool. I love the moderate category. All around, not bad. Definitely deserving of number 10. Number 9, this may cause some controversy because... Controversy, I sound like Sean Connery. May cause some controversy because I'm sure a lot of people rank this higher. Some people probably rank it lower in modern times, but I have the Contemporary. And I would say the number one reason I have this on here is just the pure iconism. It is an absolute icon of Disney World, an icon of Florida even. The monorail running through, the sleek aesthetics of everything. It's something you have to behold, you know, especially if you're someone coming down on the college program. Just go take in this resort. It's, when you're standing below it and you look up at it, it really is impressive. I know people in current times said it kind of feels like a retro resort. It's not futuristic. It's not really contemporary anymore, but I don't think that's really the point anymore. It's supposed to almost have a retro feel to it in a lot of people's hearts. Really good gift shop, cool gift shop, and it's large right there in the main terrace. Has an arcade, which you're probably like, an arcade, it's 2024, who cares? I actually like when resorts have an arcade. Riverside has a nice arcade, which I'll talk about later, but for a deluxe resort to have an arcade, it's pretty impressive. They generally do not, and I think they have it in there because it fits with the aesthetic. Obviously, for most deluxe resorts, they feel like it's not something that should be in there. It almost brings down the quality of it, I guess, in Disney's eyes, but obviously the values have the moderates do. I mentioned Riverside because spoiler alert, it is on the list later, but yeah. Food options: the Contempo Cafe, Chef Mickey's, Steakhouse 71, California Grill. Pretty quality places. I know Chef Mickey's has its fans, has people that don't like it. The Contempo Cafe, it's quick service, resort quick service, and at a deluxe resort, you're pretty much just going to get what you get there. Steakhouse 71 is one of the most beloved places on property right now. It is very high quality from what I've heard. And of course, California Grill is California Grill. It's iconic. You get to eat at the top of the building, so a lot of cool stuff there. But yeah, definitely make your way over there at all costs. Like I said, especially if you're on your college program, do not end your program without going there. You could really say that about virtually all these, but there is one of the ones especially you should go visit, just to pay tribute to the years before you got there. At number 8, we're jumping down from deluxe technically to value, although I think it should be classified as a moderate resort in all honesty. Art of Animation, and it makes the list simply, well, not simply because, but primarily because it is the most overtly Disney-themed resort of any of them. I think if someone asked, you know, what is a Disney resort, like, well, I probably would go with the deluxe just to show them, like, this is the great theming and everything. But if someone literally asked, in quite literal terms, a Disney resort, like Disney in the creative term art of animation, would be it. The theming is all things Disney, you know, great films that they have filmed it, that they have themed it on there. Cars especially is a favorite of mine. Well, they're really all favorites pretty much, but I love the Cars area. I think it's really something Walt would have loved to see. You know, it is pure, it is Disney in its purest form. It might be the place where the Disney magic is still alive the most, honestly. I feel that way about the resorts collectively, but this resort especially is just magic, especially for kids. You know, if you have kids, if this was my best value list, it would be very high on the list, I can tell you that. But even just, you know, if you have kids, go visit while you're down there. It has a Skyliner station, which is huge. It shares it with Pop Century, but the fact that Value Resorts have a Skyliner station is pretty major. And they have the Landscape of Flavors here, which is considered one of the best food courts on property. So definitely not losing out when it comes to food. Jumping on to number 7 here. Port Orleans French Quarter. And some people may be like, why are you separating this from Riverside? I know some people bundle them together, and they should be bundled together in some cases because they're so close. But they are two very unique, very specific resorts, and that's why I had this at number 7. And there's some major reasons here. I love this resort. I visit it every time I'm down there. Even when I was living there, I visited it a lot, packaged with Riverside. Great theming. Now, I'll kind of discuss differences between it and Riverside when we get to that, but it definitely does, you know, it feels like the French Quarter. Great ambiance, which is packaged with that. You have the live music sometimes, just the beignets, which is a major bullet point I have on here. It's just, the ambiance is great. You, of course, have the walkway to Riverside. You have boats to Disney Springs, which are primo. You know, that is one of the absolute best. I would say it's the best free transportation experience on Disney property, honestly. The Sasagula Floatworks food court, I worked there. Very good. It's always had one of the most top quality menus on Disney property from what I have seen, at least in recent times. And like I said, the beignets, you can't go wrong with that Scat Cats Club. You just can't. Yeah, just a great resort. Sorry for the long pause there. I was kind of seeing where this went next. Which we will go ahead and go there. Number 6, the Poly, the famous Polynesian resort. And I really think the big thing about this to me is that it is the most classic feeling resort. Even more so than the contemporary. It just feels like 70s Disney. I mean, I know it's been modernized, it's been updated, but it just feels, I think it's that view from the beach. You just get, it's so different from the contemporary view. You just see Cinderella Castle across the water. It is a trademark view. It's a thing of dreams, honestly. There's just a special welcoming feeling there, I think. It's one of the first places I go visit every time I go back down, and it's just special. The music, I love the Hawaiian music playing around the area. 2 very nice gift shops on each level. You have a gift shop in the lobby. Great merchandise in there sometimes. Great views, like I said, from the beach. I mean, the beaches themselves are an experience. You have monorail access. You have a walkway to the Grand Floridian, which extend that, and you can go to the Magic Kingdom as well. And the dining here is top-notch. Mwah. It is exceptional for any Disney resort. Captain Cook's, potentially my favorite quick service on property. I'd really have to think about it, but it's definitely up there. Ohana, I've never eaten there, but I know people love the experience, especially breakfast. Kona Cafe, And of course, Pineapple Lanai, which is one of only like 3 or 4 places on property where you can get a Dole Whip, and you can get a legit Dole Whip there. So definitely, even if you're going for a culinary experience, go to Polynesian. It is immaculate in multiple ways. Number 5, just up the way. Literally, it's called Floridian Way, but just up the way is Grand Floridian. And really, I could just put Grand Floridian on here and not even go beyond that, and people would understand why it's on here. It is the most beautiful Disney resort. I know people will disagree, and that's fair. But I mean, it's the Grand. It truly is grand. You know, when you're walking up there, when you go in that lobby, you understand what the place is. Like, I definitely couldn't afford to go there, but if I could stay at any resort, even though it's not my favorite, I would stay there. Just to say that I had. Because it is on a different level. I know I've heard people say the Riviera is the new Grand. That is slander. That is Disney slander right there. And if you're a true Walt Disney World fan, you tell those people what's up. I know they're true Walt Disney World fans that probably prefer the Riviera, and that's okay. I just don't like it at all. It's a big gray monster of a building, and the lobby's this big. But anyway, that's a serious digression. And speaking of the lobby at this place is grand. I mean, everything here is grand. You can walk to the Polynesian. As I said, you can walk to the Magic Kingdom. You have monorail access. Not great for the average person. I put that in my notes here because it is the Grand Floridian. You know, if you're going to eat stuff, it's going to be expensive. You know, you're talking $50, $60 an entree at least. Victoria and Albert's is straight up fine dining, so might as well set your paycheck aside for that. But yeah, when it comes to dining, Gasparilla Grill, Citrico's, Narcoossee's, Grand Floridian Cafe, as I said, Victoria and Albert's, these are considered to be some of the best places on property, and I'm sure they should be, but for the average person, like I said, you know, if you're going for some quick service, go down the road and go to Polynesian. But the Grand, the reason it's not higher is because I do recognize that there are things that the average person can't really experience there. I think other resorts are more lively, but it gets to number 5 purely and simply because of its stature. It is the most grand Disney resort. It just, I remember as a kid, you know, you'd see the Disney promotional footage that they would put out and stuff. I knew what the Grand Floridian was even as a kid who never went to Disney. Its stature is beyond itself. Number 4, Animal Kingdom Lodge, going from not so lively to potentially the most lively place on property. And I specifically have Jumbo House for this. I know some people swear by Kidani Village, but just for the magnificence of it all, I have Jumbo House and the restaurants as well. Beautiful lobby. Very welcoming, very good feeling. The animals are the big thing, and like I said, I think that's what really livens it up. You have the animals there right outside the balcony. Even as just someone going to look around, you can go see some of the animals. The Mara is the food court, very good. That's another one that would be in contention for my top food courts or top quick service in all of Disney. Balma, it blows me away even just thinking about Balma. I've been multiple times, breakfast and dinner. It's my favorite place on property, especially if you were a cast member. Go use that discount. If it's at the 40%, especially, go take advantage of that. Hit that place up. It is crazy. Definitely make a reservation there and go out of your way just to go to Balma and look around the resort. Chico is very expensive, but I've heard it's very good quality. Really, the only downside of this resort is that it's not easily connected to anything else. You have to take buses to get anywhere. But that's not a huge deal. You know, if you're at Animal Kingdom, just plan a day where you go to Animal Kingdom, you go to Animal Kingdom Lodge after and go get Boma. That is what I personally did on one day when I was there on my first college program. So just definitely plan that out. It is a place worth seeing. Number 3, which is what I consider possibly the most picturesque resort, is the Boardwalk. The lake is beautiful. The boardwalk itself is beautiful. The inside of the resort is very cool. And there's just so much in the area to go see and do. That Epcot resort area is my favorite resort area. Well, I say that, I really would have to think about just the pure magnificence of the Magic Kingdom resort area, but activities and entertainment, like I said, there's so much in the area. Sometimes you'll see live entertainment on the boardwalk. You can walk to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, which, once again, if you're on your college program, if you're down there on a vacation, that's what I would suggest. Just take a day where you know you're going to be in the park for a while, take a friendship boat or walk to the boardwalk, just go see the whole resort area. Fantasia Gardens Mini Golf is right there next to the Swan and Dolphin. 100% recommend that place. The Fantasia Fairways is the craziest mini golf I've ever seen. It's like a real golf course. It's that hard. There's some good dining there. Flying Fish, I've heard, is very good. They have like a deli and pizza window. That's one thing, quick service is not the best here, but Jelly Rolls, that's a big college program participant place because it kind of has a nightclub-esque vibe, but it's on property. You know it's going to be a safe place, so I know a lot of people go there on their programs. I don't drink, so I never really partook in that, but yeah, definitely go to Boardwalk, walk around. It's a really impressive place, to say the least. Talking about impressive, we move on to number 2. To me, this is the most impressive building as far as its imposingness, just the sheer size of it. Wilderness Lodge. Blaze, who is of course my co-host on here and is on most of the videos, he told me once that it put Great Wolf Lodge to shame because it's just such an impressive place. That's one lobby where just go sit down in there and look up, you know. It is, I don't know what it is, 5-6 stories, well, not even 5 or 6 stories, 5 or 6 levels. I don't know how many stories it is technically, but you can go up and walk around the different levels there. It's just amazing. It's truly amazing. I just love to go sit in that lobby. And you have some decent transportation there. You don't have the monorail, obviously, since you're not connected to that, but you do have boats to the Magic Kingdom, the Contemporary, as well as Fort Wilderness. Some very good dining. Whispering Canyon Cafe. Got to eat there for the first time on my program last year. Very good. Roaring Fork, which is the quick service, and you have Artist Point, which is character dining. I mean, character dining at a resort, there are some other options, but that's pretty impressive for this. But yeah, like I said, not quite as easy to get to as some of the other Magic Kingdom area resorts, but go check it out. You will feel like you are in the wilderness. It is super impressive and well worth going to look at. Like I said with some of the other ones, plan a day where you're going to get a reservation at Whispering Canyon Cafe or Artist Point and just go over there. Make a 4-hour experience out of it or something like that. And at number 1, you may have deduced this from previous comments in the video, Port Orleans Riverside. And I'm sure some people are like freaking out because I have a moderate at number 1. And even just beyond value, because like I said, this really isn't the video for that, as far as how much you'll get out of your dollar. I just love this resort. And I did work there. I worked there on my first college program there in the Mill food court. And, you know, you may think that's why you love it so much because you worked there. I would say it's the opposite. I did not come out of there having a very affinity type feeling towards that place after I left. It took some time to kind of come back around to it, but as the years went by and I spent time there, I actually got to stay there. It is the only resort I've gotten to stay at, but even before that, it was my favorite. That's why I stayed there. I think it is the closest you can get to a deluxe without deluxe prices. Talk about picturesque. I mean, it puts the boardwalk in Grand Floridian. It takes them to task. I mean, it would be close. And coming from a moderate resort, that's impressive. The Sassagoula River, the way it flows through, it is just beautiful. I mean, even thinking about it right now, it's like, I know some people love French Quarter, and understandably so, the beignets, good food court. I just don't think it's as pretty of a resort as Riverside. Just go walk around. You know, take a day where you go to Riverside and French Quarter. Go to Disney Springs, use it as a hub, and go to these places. Just walk around, sit down on a bench next to the Sassagoula. You know, you don't feel like you're in Florida anymore, that is for sure. Which is ironic because it has the swamps. They use the natural kind of swampy areas because it fits in there, but you feel like you were transported, which you can say with most of the Disney resorts, but I think the Sassagoula River especially just is like a different universe. As I said, they have a great arcade there. For a moderate resort, it is phenomenal. I've spent a couple hours in there at least over the years, which I don't usually spend time in arcades, but the gift shop, I mean, I've seen it voted as the best gift shop on Disney property, at least outside of the parks. I've seen it get voted that before, and rightfully so. It is huge. You feel like you're in like one of the park's premier gift shops, you know, the Emporium, Mouse Gear. I call it Mouse Gears. I forget what it's even called now. I just always have called it Mouse Gears and Epcot. You feel like you're in a premier Disney gift shop there. It's very impressive. Boats to Disney Springs or French Quarter, as I said earlier. Definitely utilize that. Do it at night as well. A couple of years ago, I got to do that at night. It's a whole different experience. It's just silent back there. It's dark. It's silent. It is an experience going back up in there, in that area at night. When it comes to dining, you have some very good dining. The Mill, where I worked, they revamped the menu entirely after I left. It looks like one of the best menus on Disney property at this point, honestly. Boat rides, people ragged on it for years, but post-COVID, it came back with a vengeance. It is considered one of the better restaurants on Disney property now, and I can say, without a doubt, my last college program, I ate at quite a few table service. I mean, multiple, which is a lot for me, but it was the best. They have an all-you-can-eat sampler kind of dish. I forget exactly what it's called. It has multiple meats on it, that kind of thing. Top notch. It was incredible, and I was like, how did people ever rank this so low? But it is because it just came back with such a vengeance. They have the River Roost Lounge, which is where Yeehaw Bob performs. He was gone for a little while, but he came back. I used to see him back in the backstage areas there sometimes he always seemed like such a nice guy. Very interesting show. Once again, I don't drink, so I don't really spend time in those kind of lounges and things, but if that's what you enjoy, go take a night, add that to your Disney Springs taking the boat day. Just go eat at boat rides and then go to River Roost afterwards and see Yeehaw Bob. But yeah, that's it for my list here. Definitely some twists and turns to it. I hope some of you were surprised by it. I hope it has helped some of you. I mean, I know channels that do these kind of rankings are a dime a dozen, but I hope at least the knowledge of someone who's worked there, spent a lot of time there, can at least help you in some way. Not that I'm some great all-knowing figure, but I just give it my honest opinion as someone who isn't rich, someone who has spent probably almost as much time at the resorts as the parks. Just go enjoy yourself. You don't have to spend a ton of money. Just go walk around, sit in the lobby, take it all in. Take in everything that Disney has to offer. It's not just the parks. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all I have this episode, and I will see you next time.